Hey everybody, how's it going? So welcome back to Planet Coaster and welcome back to the park that you know the name of by now, but just in case you don't, it's Wilderview Mews. So we're all in a spin this week because I'm finally building the coaster that I've been avoiding doing for 6 series. Oh, go on then, let's go. Yeah, alright, 6 series is a pretty long time to have a promise outstanding for, so I can't really put this off any longer, can I? I did promise you a Mack spinning coaster way back in Chacharolandia, and it's about time that I put this right. Now, the park did have a pretty obvious gap in its lineup, so it seems only right that we're going to plug that gap with a coaster I know nothing about. I mean, it was at this point in Grosvenor Gardens we put the surf coaster in, so seems legit, right? And this is what we have. It is a beautiful yellow and blue thing. It's kind of inspired a little bit by Paulton's Park Storm Chaser and also the Toverland spinning coaster as well. So yes, it is a lift hill. It's not a launch coaster mods. So it is what it is. It works. And I like it. So this is the layout. They are really twisty and turny. They don't focus so much on airtime. They focus mainly on the spin aspect of it, and you get that by putting as many twists and turns in as you possibly can. So this is the monstrosity that it is. And I mean, I quite like that it sits here. I did have a different layout in mind. I had the layout I wanted to come around this way, but actually it loses quite a bit of momentum quite quickly. So I thought, okay, there's only so much you can turn friction down before you start to actually make it a little bit unrealistic. So I dug out some Mack research. I've done a little bit of work on profiling and stuff. I've done my best that I can with the game. It's smooth, it spins, it does what it needs to do. Is it perfect? No, but I'm not going to let the pursuit of perfection be the enemy of good. So this is the station. And then we're going to come into the lift hill here. We're back to 30 degrees, everybody. We are back in the 30-degree club. It's set to 8 miles an hour. They're not particularly fast lift hills. They are capable of doing faster because they're fairly modern machines, right? They're fairly modern stuff on the lift hills and whatever mechanisms. And then we come into the first turn, and then that comes into the first drop. This is profiled very similarly to the Toverland one because I liked how it was. The Paulton's Park one comes down this way, comes into an airtime hill, and then comes into its main course. But I actually like the Toverland one because I wanted this idea of having it spinning around and it wrapping on the inside of the dive coaster turn here. And the only way I was going to really do that, unless I was going to bring it right the way down underneath the track, which I didn't want to do, I wanted it to wrap round over the top, is to do that. And it's very Cheetah Hunt at the same time as well, right? And Cobra's Curse, kind of all that in that. I know Cheetah Hunt's not a spinning coaster, by the way, don't hit me up. But that's that vibe that I was going for. Anyway, first drop. Then it comes into the turnaround, the vertical turnaround. I don't know what these are called, and they are a pain in the ass to do in the game. This was 90 minutes worth of work just getting this section of track perfect, and no amount of tutorials helped me. But we did it. We made it. It is what it is. It doesn't have to be absolutely vertical because the train is not travelling fast enough, so I'm okay with it being 70, 80 odd degrees. Yeah, it works, and it's symmetrical enough for me, so we'll go for it. And then we come into the first batch of figure of 8 turns. So this is just the point that you're doing to make all of the train spin. And then I wanted to keep it low to the ground, just like the Toverland one does. So it comes into a snake bend. So you've got a banked turn here, a lesser banked turn here, because you want to instigate some spinning. And then you come into a lesser bank and then up into a high bank here. And then that instigates even more spinning around this way. Bit of a dip and then a bit of an airtime thing, if you like, comes into an airtime thing, and then into the final turns and the final figure of 8, and then into the brake run. So they are relatively simple in design. They hold their speed fairly well, and they spin quite a lot. I prefer doing these, by the way, over the Morrison ones. This was a lot more fun to do, I will concede. Even though I really don't like spinning coasters, full stop. They just vomit comet machines, aren't they? Ugh. Dragon's Fury at Chessington's World of Adventure is just horrific. I came off that and I was like, I am never going on a spinning coaster again. So in terms of the area, then this is what we've got going on. So I need to do some work on the I still don't know what it's called. The disco. I'm going to call it disco. I know it's not a disco. Sundial. That's what it's called in game. I know that much. And I need to do some stuff here. We do need some shops. We're going to need photo units and stuff. And we do also have this bit here for maintenance. And I'm trying something out. I want to hide the maintenance area from the path, but I also want to connect it here. So you've got a bit of like a garage door and stuff. So let's see how that goes. But this, the reason I've done this, by the way, is so I've got the near miss with this curve here. So this is completely intentional, because you do want some sort of excitement. Can you imagine spinning, coming around this coaster and like flying towards this wall? You're gonna crap your pants, aren't you? Let's be honest. So that's it for the coaster from the top. I'm gonna carry on and decorate it out. I mean, I don't hate it. It is what it is. Let's see how it turns out, right? Well, how about this for a mid-episode update then? I mean, I got a little bit carried away and I did lots of stuff, and now I've gone from, well, I don't hate it to, I actually quite like it. So I can't wait to show you this to you because it's really starting to come to life. But before we do, by the way, did you know that if everybody who had originally subscribed to the channel actually stayed subscribed, we'd be doing a Theme Maker Toolkit free park by now? I mean, that's quite depressing. That's the depressing part of YouTube. So, you know, clicky button, please. So this is where we are at right now. And I think I'm ready to call it, by the way. This pebble mulch, I think, is my new favourite thing in game because it's just so versatile. I mean, if you have a look at it against the wall here, you can see that it varies its height and stuff. So it actually feels like it's just travelled in the wind or general movement and stuff, and it's not actually level, it's not clean. Oh, I quite like it. And yeah, I kept the colours too. I toyed with a couple of other different combinations of colour, but yellow and blue felt like it was just right. And like this pebble mulch, I just keep going back to it. It's just perfect. Normally what I do is I just line out the paths down here, right, and then put the path covers down just to get a feel for how it's going to look. But I actually got carried away and thought, I need to do this area. I had to stop just short of doing all the flowers and stuff. Because like, no, I need to stop. So anyway, talking about this maintenance area. This is, I'm fighting with the stuttering. This is how the maintenance area is sitting. So this sort of like was a happy accident. I was watching Cobra's Curse POV, and this was like how the maintenance area on that coaster works. And then I put the mulch down and I thought, actually, this probably doesn't lend itself to being a raised up one. It was going to be more like the Swarm or the Wing Coaster that we've got in the park. So I've ended up putting the concrete pillars down, and it's now a ground-based transfer track. So that's kind of what we're going for here, right? And then the maintenance area is just nicely hidden away. This is exactly what I was talking about when we were talking about the maintenance area earlier on, like having this corridor and then coming down into the maintenance area. But I've not put the steps in yet, so please don't walk through this door because it's not going to end very well. So just don't go through the door. We'll fix it. It's fine. I need to do some touching up in here anyway, so I've got a little bit of detailing already done so you can get a feel for the area, but I need to just do some more stuff on this one. And then we've got the actual work yard here. So it's long and thin, and I wanted to keep it aside from the pathway here, so it also feels a bit real and a bit claustrophobic in this area. And I fenced it off so it's all safe and secure, and I don't think we need this fence anymore. I think I can probably get rid of this, but this is again where the pebble mulch has come into its own because it just gives character to the area. I'm going to put some plants and stuff down anyway, so it's going to break up the texture, but yeah, I love it. And then of course I wanted this pathway to come around this way, and as you already know, my paths are a lie, so I always just put the basic path down and then cover it over with a path cover and call it done. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. Nice wide path area. Continuing the boardwalk theme, by the way, I kind of felt like the area wouldn't stop here, particularly as we were still using spinning rides and stuff. So I've actually continued the boardwalk theme. I'll show you the buildings in a moment, and we've also got a new ride. It felt like I needed to put something in here just to fill the gap, particularly as we've got the coaster that's coming in this area and stuff. So I needed to fill this area in. Right, so station-wise, I'm going for a little bit of a hang time vibe here. I've gone for blues, yellows, and a darker blue just to give it a little bit of variation. And I need to do some touching up and stuff in here. Of course, you know that already. It's just the middle part of the episode. But I think these colours quite nicely work. You know, you've got the white brick, the white roof, the blue and the yellow. It works quite nicely. foliage and stuff will break up all of this colour anyway and give it a little bit of difference. And then inside here, lots of exposed beams and a bit of accent lighting and stuff going on. And then Thememaker's Toolkit stuff is some of it's in, some of it still needs doing. It's just, again, it's getting a feel for how this station is going to look. But I quite like how it sits. It's not intrusive, and I wanted to go for wood with this one rather than the steel of the dive coaster. It felt like there would be a very similar feeling, but not too similar, not the same, not identical, right? Two areas of a beach. So if you imagine, one might be British and one might be American. I don't know. Let's just make it up. And then photo-wise, we've got the photo booth in here. I need to put the screens on. I think this might be a bit wide, actually, for this coaster. I mean, he's only got 16 people per per train, so we're not going to get that many photos. But anyway, I've used this style of building before, and I quite liked it, so I've just brought it back into here. It's a slight variation of one that I've done previously, but I like it, and I like how it sits as well, and it just sort of like sits there. This bit then over in Spikes, I've extended the patio a little bit, so I've bought the rocks and stuff around this way. Of course I need to finish it, and foliage and stuff needs to go in here, but I've extended the patio slightly because it felt like this was just a bit too much of a wasted space if I hadn't extended it. So that's what I've done. I don't know at the moment whether I'm actually going to bring it around this way or keep it square. Let me play it out. But that's how it is at the very moment, right? And then we've got the sundial ride here. The queue line is in. I don't think the queue line was in the first update, was it? So it's in now. And yes, it's a cattle pen. Not even sorry. We like it. It's not a complete cattle pen. Well, it is a complete cattle pen, I guess. It just doesn't go backwards and forwards. It goes around on the outside here. It's interesting, at least. It's not. It's a cattle pen. Let's own it. So the boardwalk theme then continues along this way. I wanted to put gift shops and stuff in here just to make it actually useful. I don't really know why I've put an info point in here. It's just like a bit of a mistake, I think, so I just need to change it out. But yeah, we've got lots of stuff going on here. Ice cream, coffee, donuts, that, usual gubbins. And I wanted to give the feel of boardwalk by putting the strip lights up, because we're using it elsewhere, so it feels like we would use it here too. But I've only gone so far. I kind of wanted it to feel almost like before this coaster was in, the path would probably come round this way, and this would have been the end of the path, or the outside of the path. I think it works. I need to finish it off and put the flowers and stuff in to see whether it does actually work IRL, but it works for now. Need to tidy up and stuff anyway. But these are just grab and go units, and I've also used the billboards that come in game. We've not used them in the park yet, so it felt like we've got these pretty awesome billboards that Frontier did, and we're just not using them. So yeah, that's what we're going for. And we're going for a bit more Victoriana here, so like that old vintage kind of feel boardwalk to this one. And then of course you've got coffee and ice cream down here, and then we've got our new ride that's sitting in this area. It felt like it needed to be like a wavy spinny type thing, just to accent the area and complement the area slightly. And then I haven't forgotten to do these. I need to go back and put them in. I've been designing the park with areas in mind for these kind of games units and stuff, but I actually felt like I needed to put this one in now because the path and everything needed to go through, right? So I've made this one usable. I need to put some more games and stuff in here, so it's not just this massive gaps and whatever. And then of course you've got a game store here. So I thought, yeah, do you know what, I'm going to put it in here now. Again, it feels like it would probably have been in here all along anyway, so I've just put it in. And then the queue line for the spinning coaster is just your typical queue line. They could shut off all of this cattle pen if they needed to, and you could just have it going up and wrapping around and then back this way. Up this way and then wrapping around and back. But the cattle pens are just extensions of the queue. So this is then how it is looking from the top. As I said, I've gone from I don't hate it to I quite like it. So I reckon once it's done, I'm going to end up loving it, and trees and foliage and stuff will bring it to life. So let's see what happens, shall we? Oh yes, I totally called it. Like, it's completely come to life. It's gone from I don't hate it to I freaking love it. Like, this was a really difficult coaster to do because I've never built one before, but just this sightline alone, this last figure of 8 makes it feel exactly as this coaster should. Like, and it rides so well too. Like, I'm proper chuffed, guys. I am proper chuffed. I can pull a roller coaster out my ass, no problems at all, but this was worth the effort. This was nearly deleted. The episode was nearly scrapped. It was all sorts of horrors going on, but yes, I love it. Like, it's just this view. Like, I can't get over this view. It's just it's incredible. Sorry, I go up at my work sometimes and just think, yes, fair play. That is a good one. I mean, look at it. Oh, and the cars just spin perfectly and everything. Anyway, right, so let's get on with this, right? Because you don't want to listen to me gawping all the time. Oh, trees. Here's the station. This is how the station is sitting on the whole sight line. Love how this has come together. The colours just make it perfect. It's still got that boardwalk vibe. It's still got that feeling that it's supposed to have. Like, very sort of British. It's a British take on an American boardwalk. That's kind of what I'm going for with this. And then this is the maintenance area. Like, again, this is another view that I've kind of fallen in love with. It's just so simple but so effective, and especially when you've got all the catwalk clutter and stuff on and it's all finished and done and the signs are all out and the train goes past. Oh yes, like, spinning coaster. I need to calm down, I really do. So this is a station, done some touching up in here, put all of the Theme Makers Toolkit stuff and the push points and the people and all sorts. I mean, this is pretty much as the station would be, right? Maintenance area, obviously put the roof on. Doesn't need to be a pitched roof or anything. A flat roof is absolutely fine. And inside here, lots of clutter going on. It's a really small enclosed space. And yes, we have some stairs. See, I told you I'd put them in. I did promise. So yeah, this is the maintenance area, and then this is the yard. I don't think I've done anything to this. I think this was always like this. I mean, obviously I've touched it up with flowers and foliage and stuff. Oh, that train going past is so good. And the exit path and whatever is now done. I've tailed this. No, I don't know what I boarded. I was like, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I've boarded this. COVID. I boarded this off with rocks and stuff and then put the path covers on, and it just looks so good. And then foliage in here made this come to life, right? So this was a bit of a dead space. It was a bit of a dead area. It felt a bit cold and lifeless, but now I've put the foliage in, it kind of makes sense. And I did decide to keep this fence here, by the way. I did some research, and actually you'd split these two ride areas off, because if you needed, otherwise you split those two areas off, because otherwise if you needed to do work in this area, then you'd need to close both rides because it's a collision risk. So I actually decided to keep the fence in and keep it going. So backstage clutter added all along here in this area, so you can see we've got bins and whatever going on in this in here. So I noticed that some of my shops don't have backstage areas. I think I need to go back and retrofit them, particularly up on the hill. There isn't a refuse area and stuff up on the hill, so I need to change that. So Spike's patio, I decided not to do much else with this. I decided not to fence it off and stuff. It felt like it just needed to be right. It just needed to breathe. So that's what I've done here. The ramp here that was bare concrete, I've actually just put in yellow concrete. Now it does feel a little bit out of place, but it's better than the grey, so it's fine. It works. I put some steps in here, and these steps were already in, but yeah, it goes downhill, right? And I quite like how this gives that whole transition of terrain and stuff going on. Yeah, it's good. And then if you look down here, looking up from peep view, it's awesome. Like, yes. Oh, look at that timing. Yes. Like, you just get just a fantastic view. I love it. Then we've also got the queue line is all done in here. It's cattle pen, it is what it is. But now we've got foliage and trees and stuff. It now feels like it's a separate part of the park. And that's good. That's kind of what I'm going for here. It is a section, like from the top here, it is a section that's living right down the side here. So the pathway will split at this point, and you'll be able to come up this way or come up this way. So it needed to be two separate areas of the park, and of course you've got like maintenance and stuff that's going on in here. So that's kind of what I needed to do. So yes, this is just all lined off with rocks again. This is where that whole rock stuff does work, especially with the pebbles and whatever. Oh, I love it. Yes. And then the flower beds in here. Normally, I overdo my flower beds, and that's by design. It's because it's supposed to look more beautiful and stuff. But actually, I decided to keep it still mud, not pebble, and then the flowers. And this is because I wanted a bit of continuity going on, especially as we're transitioning from mud to pebbles, right? So it felt like that's kind of what was needed. And the same with the trees. There are a couple of trees that wouldn't be native to this boardwalk area, and then lots of palm trees that would be. So it kind of gives that, like that tree. So it kind of gives that whole area vibe sort of thing. And then over down this way, I did take out the information booth in the end. Oh, you're floating. Let me just fix you. There we go. Not floating anymore. I don't often do. Oh, bugger it. Whatever, you're gonna stay there. So I tried. Right, guys. You saw me do it. I tried. I took out the information point, put in a different shop instead. But ultimately, these are the gifts. So it's all fine. I just put some gift clutter and stuff around here. And then over this way is all of the food and drink units. I didn't do much to this. I do need to do a little bit of touching up in this area, and that's because in the next episode, we're going to be finishing off this lower end, because I've got some stuff that needs to come in here, and then we're going to be walking around this way, right? So I need to finish off this lower end in the next episode. But I have done a little bit of work down here just to put in some extra games and stuff going on. Just to make it sort of like complete, but I haven't put stuff or Thememakers Toolkit, much Thememakers Toolkit stuff in here. Just need to do some like touching up and whatever. Now the queue line for Nameless Ride obviously has been done. It's just a cattle pen, but it's that non-boxed off cattle pen that I always use, you know, so that's why this is just one big pad of brick, and then just some flowers and stuff along here just to finish it off, and then a bit of overgrowth just to give it get it a bit of a vibe. And then the queue line over here is also done, so again it's just a cattle pen, it's just the brick that goes right the way through, and then all of the pebble and stuff, and then we sort of like come back to this view and just go yes. And then in terms of inside the ride area, then I've just put a little bit of foliage and stuff around, right? I didn't want to go OTT with it. It felt like it needed to be a little bit more open than perhaps otherwise would be. So you've got your hairpin turn there, and then you've got your figure of eights, your snake pass, your turn, and then round into the final figure of eight. And it works. It's a layout that absolutely works. And then when we come from this side of the park, so when we are at peep view, so this is the sort of views that you're now going to get. So if you walk through, let me just change my camera, there you go. So when you walk through underneath here, you then walk down the slope, and then you walk into this area. So you've got your station on the left hand side, you've got all of your food units and stuff on the right hand side, and then just through the trees there you see the coaster, and you can come down this way and you can actually see the full thing. So photo booth then is also done, so the photos are all in, stuff is all in here, so happy with this. I quite like how this has turned out. This again sits quite nicely on the sightline. It's like just a good little building. It's not imposing, it's just there. I think it is still too big. Could probably do with it being 4 meters narrower, but then it ruins the illusion of the roof, right? So yeah, it is what it is. So guys, this is the area from the top. There we go. Look at it. It just looks good. Like, I'm chuffed. I'm chuffed with this area. Happy days. So guys, thank you for getting to the end of this video. Really do appreciate you sticking around and being here. So you know what to do. Leave a like and a comment. Oh, we need a name for this, by the way, so comments below. And I'm I've delayed it to the end of the video because only 30% of you get here anyway, so I know that the names that are going to come through are going to be good. So thank you so much. Let's go for a ride. I'm not going to do it on seat view. I'm going to do it on train view because the FPS in this one is going to make it a little bit sickly. So let's go for a ride. Until we speak again, please look after yourself. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.